You guys have heard me say a lot how I believe that something important to practice to avoid getting in trouble in very stupid ways, I guess, let it be succumbing to impulses and that leading you to making bad decisions with spending your money and things like that. I say be difficult to impress, in addition to say your relationships with people, how some people, you look at them and you wonder, how is it that you fall for the same thing every single time? And one could say this person was impressionable because, say, they were vulnerable based off their socioeconomic status, based off the fact that they're by themselves, they need guidance, they need coaching, they need love, whatever it is. I don't think I have formally, officially expressed what I believe is the opposite of that. What is something that you should allow yourself to be? Don't be easy to impress. What is the opposite to that? And yesterday it hit me and I wrote down how being teachable is probably the thing that helps me get through life the most. But I wasn't sure how to describe it. I wasn't sure how to express it, let it be from personal experience or the things that I have observed. And yesterday, while I was at work, I went through something that upset me so much, and I tried to think about why I was upset. What is it that my annoyance at that moment was revealing about me? And I couldn't help but remember that at some point I had written being teachable. And then I said, you know what? This put all of my thoughts together, and it helped resolve what it is that I've been wanting to say. Why do I say that being teachable is something good, something important, something that you ought to be? Well, my first instance with a thought similar to this can go back to who I believe was one of my top 3 most influential teachers I had in high school, and it was my psychology teacher. He said that money in this country should not be a reason why nobody can go to college. But I'm not sure what it is about that statement that, to me, it no longer seems true. But I think that he must have been a product of his times, because by the time he taught me, he was already in his 50s. Times for him when he went to school some 30 years prior looked very different. I also remember another thing he said is that the point of college is that it shows that you can be taught. Even if there is such thing as degrees who maybe do not open certain doors for you, at least the fact that you have a degree at all shows that you can be taught. It shows that you can show up to commitment. It shows that you can be responsible. And I can understand that, because when I think about my job and those traits he was describing, I can understand how it is that those things being expressed in a record, in a piece of paper, are important. Now, in my own words, the reason I believe being taught is the opposite of don't be impressionable is because yesterday I experienced a disagreement with one of my coworkers, and it has to do with one of our coworkers had been absent because he experienced a medical emergency. When he came back, he has now some limitations. Let's just say that he's now disabled. Therefore, his position had to be changed a little bit so that we could accommodate him. Essentially, he will, for the next couple of months, will be permanently at self-checkout, which hooray for me, because I had a self-checkout shift about 3 days ago and it tried me. I remember thinking to myself, God, I really hope this is the last time I ever have to do that. Now, for a fact, I know I'm not going to get a shift like that. We just experienced a very dire situation, and I understand why I had to do it. I did it. I got through it. I was proud of myself because I was ready to skip that shift, but I didn't. And I also was especially glad I didn't, because that day the schedule was not looking very good from the start. But the individual who was supposed to be self-checkout originally yesterday is one that we can say doesn't do well with adversity. And what is sad is this person has almost 10 years of experience under their belt working there. They have stuck to the same thing, complain all the time, never happy about being there. And when they're there, they're always trying to shorten their shift or leave early or skip shifts altogether, things like that. I understand they're in school. I understand they're trying, whatever. I'm just saying that there are some things that I believe you should not avoid. And one of them being when you're offered to learn something new on the job, sure, at some point they're going to use that to give you more work and your pay is not necessarily going to improve much. But to me, that is my version of being a college student who is able to be taught. But not only does management approach me to teach me things, I approach them with questions to learn more about what happens, what goes on. This person I'm thinking about, this person I'm describing, never does any of that. But instead, they express themselves negatively about their experience during the shift, or their experience with the job, or their experiences with management, their perception of management. And that disappoints me because while I can agree with maybe 5% of what this person says, it disappoints me that most of the time the conversations I'm having with this person are they're venting about something and then I'm expressing that I understand and I can agree, but what is happening is A, B, C, and D. I essentially take management's side and I try to defend them in their absence because I get along well with management. Not only that, but I have taken the time of talking to them, finding out what it's like to be them, what it's like to have their job, what it is that is expected of them, and why things keep happening the way they keep happening. Why am I always by myself? Why do I feel like everything falls on me? Why do I feel like there's a lot of over-reliance? I understand the reason behind that before I even approached them, but I like to humble myself and still approach them so that they can give me potentially insights that I never considered, and so that they can, in a sense, reinforce and confirm that my observations have been correct. This other person, all they do is be vile, emptily. It's, I'm miserable, I'm a shit worker, I don't want this to get any tougher, and that's it. Whereas you can see the difference in attitude between that person and myself. This person can also be rough and rude with customers when you pay close attention. I'm the opposite. To me, I don't see them as a burden. Even when they do little things that frustrate me, and I express it on here, I am not going to be mad at them if they have trouble finding something, if they have trouble getting a coupon scanned. I'll do it for them as opposed to trying to instruct them verbally on how to use the scanner themselves or something like that. I just believe more in intervening as opposed to just describing things to them when they're already frustrated that it's not working for them from the start. Now, what set me off yesterday is that this person became frustrated that the person who's now disabled in our team switched with them because this person cannot be cashier and they needed to be self-checkout because they pretty much don't have to do any kind of lifting. One of the limitations this person has is lifting, how much weight they can lift. I saw and heard about how the other person had reacted negatively about the fact that they were being pulled from school to be put on a register, and how our disabled coworker now is the one doing self-checkout. And that just frustrated me because, again, this person came back from a medical emergency. They had surgery. They have stitches. I saw the stitches. And I asked about that. I asked this person, hey, if you don't mind me asking, how are you feeling? What happened? Don't share anything you don't wish to share. And this person was very open. They told me pretty much everything and additional information that I didn't think they would feel like sharing, but they shared it, and I was grateful because it helps me build a mental picture of what this person is dealing with, and by extension what I can do to help them, but also how it is going to affect me. And if I can anticipate those consequences, I will respond to them more positively. But my other frustrated colleague just kept talking about how this is an inconvenience for them and how upsetting it is for them. And on top of that, this person was also leaving early after they took their first break because they have schoolwork that apparently only they can process it if this person is there because they're in charge of it or something. It's a group project type of thing. And I'm like, all right. And this person did not know how to handle my reaction to me taking those news, because I was essentially running the floor on behalf of my manager because we were short-staffed, but also there was an event going on later in the day. Therefore, my supervisor needed coverage. And like I said before, I'm not burdened at all by going there and helping, especially when I feel appreciated for it and that my voice counts. I was annoyed that this person, our co-worker, could have literally died, and all this person could think about is how they're uncomfortable now. They have to do the tougher job. And I'm thinking, again, you are almost a 10-year vet doing all this, and still somehow you have not forged a strong character. Somehow none of this adversity has made you stronger. And when I think about it, this person is not teachable. This person has been offered learning how to run customer service. They have declined. This person has been given opportunities to be involved with other tasks, other jobs, but their excuse is always a victim mentality. How they have health issues, how they have autism, how they're slow at learning and picking up on things, even though this person is really good at talking about topics that to me are complex. Say they know a lot about history and ships and trains and planes, very engineering, mechanical type of thing. I don't have that ability. I can admit that. And it disappoints me that someone who clearly has the ability to learn and is interested in learning about those things and is a reader as well. This person, I see them bringing a book into work pretty much every day. And I'm thinking, how is it that you do not have a stronger character, a better attitude? And when I think about it, from what I have observed as this person's colleague of 10 years, what I see is adversity being avoided. And in moments when you were being taught something, you rejected the teaching. Say, anytime a supervisor had something constructive to say to this person, or I myself had something constructive to say, they were always trying to defend why they didn't do such a good job or why the result did not turn out the best way. Well, but the customer didn't tell me this, but the customer didn't do that, this and that, always blaming something else, another external factor, but not them. And then I said, well, in the future, what you can do in advance, when you see that the customer is not taking action, you initiate it. And of course, when you start talking like that, you're the crazy one, you're the bully, you're the inconsiderate one, you're the mean one, perception about you changes and all that. And I'm like, I sincerely don't care about any of that because I'm not afraid of adversity. I have gone through it. And because I have gone through it, I have earned power and a distinctive position that is granted to me only because I am impossible to offend. Whereas this person is very easily offended. I cannot imagine a life in which I'm easily offended, because as miserable as I am already, and you add being offended easily to that, that would be a horrible combination, a very terrible mix. And I'm not trying to use this to express feeling superiority over this person, not at all. I'm just trying to tell you that I think I'm selfish. I think I have empathy issues and all that. But when I see someone who supposedly is supposed to have a better moral compass than mine, and I observe how they react about something that's a minimum inconvenience, and on top of that, it's actually their job title, and on top of that, it's something they're supposed to be good at anyway, and they're also supposed to be part of a team and contribute when there is a weakness in the chain. You be the stronger link, something like that, and they don't. But I'm eager to support the most whenever there's a circumstance like that. And I observed how our disabled coworker was able to make it through the shift, especially since I made my appearance in their area more deliberate, despite me hating the self-checkout area. I was going out of my way to check in with this person as often as possible. And I also gave them power to make certain decisions in my absence. And I saw how much of a difference that made. I'm like, yeah, I'm great. I'm amazing. I'm awesome. I'm a badass at this. No matter who says that they wouldn't hire me because I appear to be negative all the time. You don't know me. And that is my favorite part about all this. That you don't know when I'm going to deploy my weapons. And it's just sad because this person is also supposed to be generationally my, what can I say, someone who plays on my same court. This is someone who's only a year older than me. So like, come on. We're better than this. I'm supposed to be looking up to you as an older person, like older than me. I always expect for people older than me to be superior to me. But it disappoints me when there is a severe lapse in character, decision-making, and the attitude. I just don't take that very well. I get disappointed and frustrated easily. So there you guys have it. That's it from me. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is just me logging an entry of a time when I lost my mind a little bit at work and what I did. You guys let me know if you agree, if you disagree, what would you have done differently? What would you have reacted with? If you think I'm in the wrong, if you think I'm too harsh, if you think I'm not harsh enough, if you think my coworker is right for feeling offended, that their task for the day was swapped to help someone disabled be accommodated because they need money and they need to eat and they have bills to pay as well, and all that. And mind you, this person is younger than us and they're already missing an organ, and this procedure had an effect on some other organs. This person is not missing work and coming back and needing accommodation because he's going on vacation. This is a person who's suffering, okay? But somehow what was important for my coworker is the fact that she was going to have a bad day at work because she doesn't want to perform her title of being a cashier after 10 years. What? Damn. Yeah, tell me I'm wrong. I dare you. That's why I keep saying this country needs an internal emergency. We have been comfortable for too long. We need a disaster. We need a catastrophe that may finally unify us on the note of healthcare, education, infrastructure, all that. Because this is absurd.